I had a blast watching that game. I don't know about the rest of you. That was such a fun pitching duel to watch.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Down on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
As always, I'm Braden Iwasco. He's Carter First. You can find us on Twitter, Braden5Iwasco, Carter First too, but also our main Twitter now, Locked On Jays. Make sure you guys go follow us on that Twitter account to get updates all the time. And if you want to go follow us on Instagram and TikTok, where we post post-game reactions, post-game posts during the games, everything like that. You can follow us at Locked On Blue Jays on Twitter or on TikTok and Instagram, Locked On Jays on Twitter. Twitter, we update everything throughout the game. If any thoughts, feelings, whatever, we post on there. Also our post-game recaps and everything like that as well. If you're not subscribed here on YouTube, make sure you do that. If you're listening anywhere else, head over to the YouTube page anyway and hit that subscribe button. It does really help us out. And you guys get podcast shorts, live streams, videos, sort of the whole ordeal. Yeah, man, that was a fun win. You know what? I don't usually get too pumped up over pitching duels because some people will say it's a sort of a garbage brand of baseball, but I had a blast. I love watching Kevin Gausman work and get Ks and strike guys out. I loved what the bullpen was able to do late in that game. And then the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of it all, the making it finally 100% official that he has re-signed with the Toronto Blue Jays. The extension for 14 years, $500 million. It was just a good day. You get a series win against the Red Sox. You're 3-0 against the Red Sox so far. Still one more game to go. How did you feel about that game? Like, what were you feeling throughout, Carter?
It's so much more fun when you're watching a pitching duel and your team actually comes out on top at the end of that pitching duel. It was giving me kind of bad vibes with the Chris Bassitt start that he had against the Mets where they blow that lead late. I was thinking if Kevin Gausman goes 8 innings pitched, has 10 strikeouts, just has an unbelievable day, and they find a way to blow this game, that is going to be so frustrating as a fan to watch because we were like okay with those 2 wins. The series split for me going into the series wouldn't have been the worst thing. I know you wanted that series win. Definitely got the series win now, but it's definitely nice to have when you have your best pitcher, your ace of the starting staff, go out there, throw an absolute gem, and you actually do go out and win that game. Makes things a whole lot easier when you have 11 innings pitched and you only have to throw 3 pitchers during that game. So shout out to Kevin Gausman, absolute dog on the mound. Jeff Hoffman, I mean, are you absolutely kidding me? Like, unbelievable. Goes against Jarren Duran in the 9th inning. A beautiful pitch on the top outside part of the plate. Then you go right back. Rafael Devers' first pitch. So in 2 pitches, you get Duran out on a ground ball. You get Devers out. He pops up. That allows you to pitch again in the 11th inning in the 10th inning, and then that just leads to your win as a baseball team. This is again, we're going to talk about this a lot. I think throughout this year, comparing this year to last year, there's no chance the Toronto Blue Jays win this game. Nathan Lucas probably doesn't do a job. Somehow he's going to pop out, and then, someone's going to get thrown. They're going to get picked off at second base, and the Toronto Blue Jays somehow lose that game. So the vibes are completely different this year than they were from last year. And just, again, a great team win and just guys doing jobs at the end of the game to come and clutch and drive in that final run.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. Like, we're not going to sugarcoat anything. The offense did not look good. And we're not going to brush over that either. But at the end of the day, you pick up a win in a game that I almost feel like when we went into this Red Sox series, we were sort of just waiting for the other shoe to drop. When was the loss going to be, right? When was that going to come? And we thought, oh, maybe the first game. Oh, maybe the Easton Lucas game. Oh, well, they've won 2 in a row, so Blue Jays luck. It's probably going to be this next game. And they go out and get win after win after win. This is what this team needs to do, and they're proving, I think, everybody wrong. And not in the sense that, some guys don't show up or some guys are playing better. Obviously, we know that. But in the sense of being able to cap off wins. And I think that is the big difference that we're seeing already this season in comparison to last year. Because you brought it up. This does not feel like a game this team would have won last year. And I think that shows development, not just the pitching staff to have faith that their offense is going to do something, but also the offense and pulling it together when they really need it and getting the job done. Bichette, I mean, what an absolute last at bat he had there, Carter. I thought he was going to send one deep over in right field. Didn't quite get that one to go. Missed it by about 15 feet. Too far right, but then gets the job done. Fly ball, drives in the run. Absolutely unbelievable. So I think overall, I'm just very happy with the job that everybody did yesterday. And I feel like there isn't a lot of times I can come out and say I was really pumped up for a win. This one pumped me up. I was ready to go. I love those close dog fights of AL East teams, and that's what we got. A lot of fun game to watch.
I think it's because it's still early on in the year, but I'm still like emotionally scarred from last year. You brought it up that after the 2 wins, you get that at least the series tie. You're kind of waiting for the bad news to come. You're waiting for the Toronto Blue Jays to screw up somewhere, and you're almost like you're putting up your emotional defenses so you can't get hurt by the Toronto Blue Jays. And then they're just continuing to do good things. They're continuing to pull out these tough games that you didn't expect from last year. And one of the biggest differences that you can notice right away is in this bullpen. The addition of Nick Sandlin, the addition of Jeff Hoffman. Again, we were big Jordan Romano guys, but unfortunately, looking at what Jordan Romano is doing in Philly right now, going out in like 7th innings, and he's getting absolutely blown up. Jordan Romano is not doing what Jeff Hoffman just did in this game, going up the top of the lineup, going at Jarren Duran, going after Rafael Devers, getting outs in late in the game, going out for a 2nd inning, doing the same thing, stranding that runner at second base, allowing the Toronto Blue Jays to have another chance after they can't come through in back-to-back innings. Just having that surefire thing, Jeff Hoffman in the back end of your bullpen, Nick Sandlin coming in. I think that would have been a narrative that we talked about if it would have went the other way. You think you would go with Yimi Garcia in that scenario, but Nick Sandlin has shown you that he has great swing and miss stuff. The stats from before this year throughout his career has shown that the swing and miss stuff is there. So they go with Nick Sandlin, and he gets the strikeout on that first batter. So it just feels like we have way more trust in the back end of this bullpen, and it's just the vibes are at an all-time high right now. But the roller coaster is still there. The roller coaster where you have these high highs and these low lows. The Toronto Blue Jays will not change in that facet, I don't think, anytime soon.
No, I agree, but you're right, and I think when we talked earlier about the Andrus Gimenez trade, we were talking about how the forgotten piece in that trade was Nick Sandlin, and how crucial he could end up being. We said he was our pick for a little bit of the diamond in the rough of this bullpen that probably got overlooked, and he did. And you know what? He's been nothing but stellar. I've really enjoyed watching Nick Sandlin. The stuff is absolutely gross. The fastball's fine enough. It's the stuff that he brings that's the game changer. You saw how many swing and miss on those outside sliders, and then he gets Jarren Duran on the one that was, I guess, the backdoor slider sort of thing on Jarren Duran, and that was a beautiful pitch. Absolutely love to see. So I was a little bit shocked, that they didn't go with Yimi Garcia, but at the end of the day, if Nick Sandlin's going to get the job done and they got faith in this guy, roll him out. I have faith right now.
Yeah, it just shows their trust in guys like Nick Sandlin. And they have trust in Chad Green. They have trust, obviously, in Yimi Garcia. They got trust in Jeff Hoffman. When Erik Swanson comes back, you might have to work up to be as trustworthy as some of these other guys. But there's 5 pitchers right there in your bullpen that you do have some sort of trust, and you can honestly throw in higher leverage situations. And I'm still going to be faithful that they can come out and win this game. And this is the thing that I've kind of been putting off. We do have a little bit of time here, is that when Erik Swanson or Ryan Berg to come back, they'll finally push Jacob Barnes out of this bullpen. He comes in, again, this is the game before. Obviously, the Jays win 6-1. He comes in, and he's just throwing balls right over the middle. He's 93, and it's middle. He's very lucky that he didn't get taken advantage of. And with baseball, with these pitchers in these lower leverage situations, this is the ideal time where Jacob Barnes comes in when you're up big in the game. He just has to get the last couple of outs. But especially with the Jays being in their schedule right now, luckily Kevin Gausman had an 8 inning pitch. But say you only would have got 5, then you have to throw 4 of your bullpen guys. Jeff Hoffman goes 2 innings. Then you only have 3 guys at your disposal. If, say, there's a close game in tomorrow's game when you got Chris Bassitt on the mound, you have to throw Jacob Barnes in one of those situations. That's a game that hopefully you can cap off the series sweep. Would be absolutely unbelievable for the Jays. But if you have to throw Jacob Barnes in one of those situations, I don't think it's going to bode too well. And you're really playing with fire every single time you throw Jacob Barnes into that situation. So there is reinforcements coming back with Erik Swanson and Ryan Burr. But not only do you get another trustworthy guy in the higher leverage situations in your bullpen, you get rid of one of the liabilities in these lower leverage situations early on the season.
Yeah, I can't wait, right? This is something we've talked about for a while now, is when this team gets fully healthy. I mean, you get Daulton Varsho back too. This team goes from being a team that can win ball games to a team that should win ball games, I think, right? You get the solid defense, you get the upgrade to the pitching staff. All of this together should really push this team. And I think that the reason that we're seeing, or how we're seeing success already, is so important to this team, because you're not at 100%. And a lot of teams aren't. But when you get to that 100%, you are way more confident moving forward than you would be if you start the season slow and then you bring these guys back and have to crawl your way out of a hole. Right now, you get a little bit of leeway, and that's nice. That's what I love to see with this team so far this season.
Yeah, and we're not going to be too closely looking at the standings, but the Toronto Blue Jays are at the top of the AL East, being 3 games above 500. Again, this is where we were at after the National Series, and things took a turn very quickly. So being this early on in the season, we're not looking at the standings too closely. But again, you're winning these games early on. You're setting yourself up to be in a better position, especially than you were last year, going into the trade deadline, a million games under 500. And we always talk about the games right now compared to the games in September. Those games in September are debatably harder to win. There's a lot more at stake. They feel like they mean more because there's a lot less of them, but they do mean the same in the big picture. You get a win now, you get a win in September. That's still one win in the win column. It doesn't matter. So definitely nice to have this start and just build the confidence early on. And they're winning games, like you said, without Anthony Santander firing, without Vladimir Guerrero Jr. firing, without having any power whatsoever, which is becoming more and more of a problem to look at when you only have 6 home runs throughout your first 13 games. That's not exactly ideal, but they're finding ways to win without this power right now. And with their track record, you got to assume the power is going to come back. But you can't really be upset throughout the first 13 games that, the Toronto Blue Jays are 8-5 and in a good spot so far to start the season.
Yeah, Carter. And you know what? We want to take a break because I do want to come back. I want to talk a little bit more about this game in particular, but also the Vlad of it all. We got to talk about him. Now that it's official, he did have some comments on what was going on sort of throughout the process. How does he feel? What are some of the things that were going on in his head? We got to talk about all of that because we got our guy, right? And I don't know how many times I can say this. This guy that should be the face of the franchise is now undoubtedly the face of the franchise. One day we are going to talk, or tomorrow actually, we are going to talk about Bichette, because this contract now is very important. And the more talk that's been going around makes it even that much more important. So tomorrow we will get into all of that as well. But still a lot to come on today's episode. So make sure you guys stick around, and we'll get you guys with all that after this short break. Today's episode brought to you by Just Ingredients. I talk about Just Ingredients all the time because it is my favorite place to get my protein, my pre-workouts. When it comes to feeling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. That Just Ingredients offers an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations. Just Ingredients is also partnered with 2-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF certified line to fuel his training and recovery. And listen, they're supporting Bryce Harper. They're supporting me because, I'm a peak tier athlete who needs their protein and needs their pre-workouts to maximize my performance as well. So you obviously can trust them. Visit justingredients.us and use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. And for more wellness tips, follow at just.ingredients on Instagram. So, Carter, as we continue to talk Vladimir Guerrero Jr., we will get back into the game a little bit. But I know you saw the video that the Blue Jays put out on their Instagram, Twitter, whatever it was. And it was pretty much a voiceover of Vlad with some of his big moments and key points in his life, saying, "I'm home." And honestly, that is exactly how it felt when they signed this deal. It just felt like, we weren't going to lose our guy. The future of the Toronto Blue Jays weren't going to be in question. Everything seemed to just be right in the world of Blue Jays land, didn't it?
Yeah, I was definitely very happy, obviously, seeing this news. Just it coming out as official just kind of brought back all the emotion once again. I don't understand how people are still being negative about this. They're always finding a way to make this into a bad thing somehow. If Vladdy would have went to free agency and signed with a different team, there would have been the same people being mad about that. Oh, how can't you offer Vladimir Guerrero Jr. $500 million? How can't you do this? How can't you do that? There's a lot of people nitpicking about it, obviously, which is going to happen when any monumental signing, any monumental moment does happen with a baseball team. But Vladdy said it throughout his entire time with Toronto. He said that Toronto is his home, that he loves the city. He wants to stay with the Toronto Blue Jays for his entire career, and clearly he has shown that through his actions, signing a 14-year deal, going to be with the Toronto Blue Jays for a very long time. And he has a great performance to cap it off as well, 3 for 4 on his day. And just seeing that play back and just realizing Vladdy's only 26 years old. We get Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in his prime, good years, bad years, and all, for a very long time. So it's just nice to see that we do have finally some certainty within the organization and just the bigger picture that this points to. They're not going to sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr. At least this doesn't make sense in my head. They're not going to sign Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for $500 million and then just go out and not spend anymore. Just be complacent, being like an okay team. Like, that's their big signing in the market. Like, now they have no more money. They're going to go out and they're going to supplement Vladimir Guerrero Jr. They're going to try to win in his prime year. So I think that really points to this team's direction. They want to be competitive and they want to win now.
Yeah, they do. And don't get me wrong, we're not going to try to string this along into a, forever conversation. But when your big fish signs, that's a big deal. And I think, Carter, one of the interesting things for me was the fact that looking at how this contract is played out, it's pretty interesting. So 175 million of that salary is actually salary. 325 million of that is signing bonus. Now, why? Why, people ask? Well, it doesn't affect your what's the cap called?
It doesn't competitive balance tax.
Competitive
It doesn't
balance.
go against the luxury tax.
It doesn't go against that. That's right. So people ask me, why then? What's the big difference? Well, it goes on from the state that you live in for the signing bonus and not the place you play. So if the tax is different in the state that you live or the place that you live, that is what you pay through taxes. So that could have been partially why this deal took a little bit longer, was to understand and to find the right amount of money that could be pushed over through a different tax system as well, even though it doesn't really affect the Toronto Blue Jays as much. But I think Vlad ends up getting more money through taxes and whatever else at the end of the day. So good for him. He gets to keep more of his money that, the Jays are paying him, instead of it all going to a government. So works for me. I'm cool with that. Vlad wants more money. Cool. Give it to him.
That's the biggest change, and that's the biggest reason why this has been implemented in the contract. It's a big competitive balance tax thing that's going to change. Still going to be around a $35.7 million cap hit in those terms, but it's just like you said, it's putting more money in Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s pockets. One of the biggest reasons that we see, or at least this is what people say, that the reason Toronto Blue Jays can't attract free agents is partly due to their taxes and how much the Canadian government takes off those salaries. Now in Florida, the tax is a little bit different, not getting taxed nearly as much as he would have in Toronto. And with this signing bonus, you get to claim it where he is a resident. So he has a house in Florida. Taxes are way lower than they would be in Toronto. So that's exactly what they're doing here. They're putting more money in Vladdy's pockets rather than him getting taxed and it going to the government. And also it just helps the Toronto Blue Jays, clear off a little bit of the books as well. Give Vladdy, he's getting a $20 million signing bonus during this season. So obviously, again, helping with the books a little bit on the accounting side and giving Vladdy a little bit more money in his pocket right away. So I think it kind of works for both sides in this scenario.
Yeah, no, it's great. And you know what? I have no problem with this at all. And that's where this comes into, right? A lot of legality problems and stuff like this. It's not just a dollar figure, and that is what it is. There are so many little pieces that go into it every single contract. So I'm not surprised it took this long. I'm it scared me a little bit that Vladdy wasn't going to sign here. But at the end of the day, we got our guy. I think he's very happy to be here. Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm just thrilled. Carter, going back through sort of the game today, is there anything else that you noticed that you sort of wanted to touch on before we sort of hit this third segment and talk a little bit about some other things?
There is a couple things I want to go over from the game, but I do have a couple of Vladdy quotes that I want to quickly give to the people here that he talked about in his press conference today. So this is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. from Hazel May, and she says, it's always been a goal of mine to be here. This is obviously Vladdy talking, and I feel like I've accomplished that. And she also asked what the toughest part of the process was. And he goes, like I always said, trust in the process, have faith that the outcome was always going to be good. Thank God everything went well. So it's obviously nice. Vladdy, very grateful he's in Toronto. I'm looking for the quote here that he said something about like this distraction notion. I'm going to kind of go over what it says. I'll throw it back over to you. Just give your input on it, and then I'll read the quote. I'll find it after. But we always talk about, is this contract negotiation a distraction for Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? Is it a distraction for the team? And we always kind of said it's not going to be this overhamping thing that the Toronto Blue Jays are really focusing on. But obviously, it's not going to help. It's going to be in the back of Vladdy's head. This is his career. This is his well-being. This is his livelihood. He obviously does have a little bit of say in this. So there was going to be a little bit of thought process, whether he was going to admit it or not during the baseball games, that he was thinking about these contract negotiations.
Yeah, and I've said that right from day one, right? When this contract didn't get signed on February 18th, I that's what I said. But Carter, I have a quote here as well from Vlad that sort of I don't know, it's a little heartwarming as a Toronto Blue Jays fan. I've never seen this as an organization. I've seen it as family. Uh, it's been 10 to 11 years of me being here, the team, the city, the fans. This is family. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't feeling going anywhere else to meet new people. Vlad, that's how I feel on a day-to-day basis. I don't want to meet anybody else. I want to sit in our basement and watch Toronto Blue Jays games, and that's it.
Yeah, that's one of the most fair things that he's definitely said. The social battery is at an all-time low for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He's fine with his people. He's fine with John Schneider. He's fine with Pete Walker. All the boys in that clubhouse definitely does not want to change. But this is the quote I was looking for from Hazel May. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. said that he would be lying if he told you that having this behind him wasn't a relief. As difficult as it was, he says that he was able to separate baseball from the business side of the game. By the end of the day, there is still going to be a hamper there. Like you said, it was a relief. Definitely going to be in the back of his head. Now it's nice to see that he can focus his entire attention, his entire well-being, and focus can be on just the Toronto Blue Jays and them being successful here in 2025 and for, the future when Vladdy's here in 2040.
Yeah, Carter. And you know what? I have another quote here from Shapiro as well. This is a momentum moment in franchise history. Vlad has been a part of the Blue Jays family since he was 16 years old and has captured the heart of our city and our country. There are very few in a game today that can say they have played for more than 2 decades with the same team, and we are immensely grateful Blue Jays fans will get to see Vlad finish his career where it all began. The name Vladimir Guerrero Jr. will forever be synonymous with the Toronto Blue Jays. Man, I don't know. They say what is it? What's the Moneyball quote? It's hard not to be romantic about baseball, right?
It's hard not to get romantic about baseball, is right.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's great to see. And I know I'm fanboying a little bit, but this is something when you've watched this team, and some of you have watched this team more than we have. Again, I'm 24 years old. Carter's 22 years old, and we've loved this team since we were kids. And to see something like this happen in our lifetime, and we've talked about it a ton of. You don't see this in sports that often where your favorite player, your face of the franchise stays with that team forever, right? It doesn't happen in football. It doesn't happen in basketball. It's very rarely still happens in hockey and almost never happens in baseball. And as a fan base, I think we got to be pretty appreciative of the fact that ours is.
Yeah, we got to give a little bit of credit here to Ross Atkins and the front office, obviously, as well, being able to pull the trigger on this signing. When we're going back in the offseason, this was something that we were hammering home, especially you. One of the biggest things that you were saying is that a pretty good offseason, but what would make it better, what would be the cherry on the top, would be a Vladimir Guerrero Jr. extension. We have gotten that extension now. So we can't really have too many complaints. I still think again, you're really nitpicking here. I think there's one thing the Toronto Blue Jays could have done to again, really put them over the top. And we'll discuss this I think it's going to be a discussion that we're going to have throughout this season. So I'm not going to get into it too much right here, but I do want to kind of go back to Kevin Gausman and his performance on the day. Kevin Gausman, just absolutely ridiculous, obviously, coming off of a performance where he did not have a single strikeout. Goes 8 innings pitched, has 10 strikeouts against the Boston Red Sox, which his lineup is nothing to scoff at whatsoever. He went on a streak today where he struck out Alex Bregman, then went on to strike out Tristan Casas, then struck out Trevor Story, then Wilyer Abreu and Christian Campbell. So, again, those are pretty good baseball players. 2 of them are on the younger side, but I think Christian Campbell's going to be really good. Top 10 rated prospect in the MLB. Wilyer Abreu I think he's top 10 batting average right now, having a very hot start to the season. And just really attacking with the fastball that we saw with Easton Lucas as well. So Easton Lucas threw 46 fastballs out of his 82 pitches. That's over 50%. Kevin Gausman as well. Middle bit more traditional here because he is traditionally a fastball splitter pitcher. But Kevin Gausman throwing 58 pitches that were fastballs out of his 93. All 10 of his strikeouts were on the fastball. Just the command of it was so well. He had such good command of it. At the bottom of the zone was something that we saw as well. A lot of teams that I think that what I've been seeing is that they're laying off the low pitch because they're thinking it's a splitter. They don't want to, again, swing in the dirt to that splitter.
Yeah.
So if he's locating the fastball at the bottom of the zone, he's either getting them looking or he's getting these late swings where they're getting this horrific contact that's going to Vladdy, that's going to Andrus Gimenez, who you just signed in the offseason. And that has the exact reason you want balls to go hit to him at second base. So Kevin Gausman, that fastball location, when he has that command on, it just makes it the rest of his arsenal so much better.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And that's something I've really noticed in the Kevin Gausman starts is people start to know him, right? You can't just lay off the splitter anymore because Kevin Gausman is understanding that pitcher or batters are starting to adjust to him and using that low outside fastball. Oh my God, Carter, it is so electric to see. And you know what? Kevin Gausman is an absolute dog. He is the guy. I know you said last year that it was a little bit of a down season for him. Not exactly what you want to see. Well, I think Kevin Gausman has deterred what we thought last year because, man, he has had an incredible start this season. And I'm just excited to see him pitch more and more. But Carter, we do still have one more game. Can the Blue Jays look for I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to knock on some wood here. We'll say get the final game is what I will say. I'm not saying anything about any brooms quite yet. We'll take a quick break. Be right back with all that. Today's episode brought to you guys by FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel gives you new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. I'm telling you guys, this is a great deal. The bonus bets are unbelievable. My brother's been making money hand over fist because he got the bonus bets and has been using those bonus bets to now place more bets. And he's been placing winning bets because he's been betting on the Blue Jays. So things have been going well for him so far to start the year. I've been placing bets on the Jays, and I've been winning the last few days, so that's really good to see. So hopefully you guys can do the same and take advantage, get in on those bonus bets. But make sure you have to place your first $5 bet, and that has to win. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. So, Carter, one more game left in the Red Sox series. How are you feeling? The Blue Jays 3-0 against the Red Sox to start the year. I mean, are you a little bit nervous now for Game 4?
Going into this series, the first game was the one I wasn't worried about at all. And then after that, it was the fourth game. I'm very confident Chris Bassitt. Walker Buehler has not had a good start to the season. Didn't have a very good 2024 season either. Was absolutely electric in the playoffs. I think that's where a lot of the hype did come from. He has had success in the past, but hasn't really gotten it together early on. So I do like the pitching matchup in the Jays' favor here. Obviously, Jeff Hoffman's not going to be available for this game, but you do have Yimi Garcia, who he didn't throw whatsoever. So that would be a guy that I would assume they go to. Chad Green should be available. There should still be some bullpen arms on the Toronto Blue Jays side, but it really just depends on how the offense is. We've seen games again, they scored 6 runs. That's a game you'd love to see. In that last game, Tanner Houck was on the mound, did have some good stuff, but you only score 1 run. You get the second run because you get that inherited run on second base, and then you don't even get a hit to drive them in. You just do jobs, which is good. You got to drive in those runs. But I think you're going to have to expect more than 1 run on a common baseball game to get these wins and get these, again, I'm not going to say it either because you didn't say it, but to get the final win of the series. So you got to expect the Toronto Blue Jays have to be a little bit more, maybe a little bit more aggressive at the plate. Maybe jump on pitches earlier on. Tanner Houck did get the pitch count up early on. Didn't really get a lot of damage to him. So they're going to have to hit a little bit better in this game if they want to finish out this series on a high note.
Yeah, I mean that's common knowledge here that we know the Blue Jays aren't scoring enough runs right now, right? And we need to see them start turning it up. We need to start, like we've said, see Vladdy hit bombs. We want to see Santander hit bombs. And yes, those are gonna come, and you think you have to hope that they will. But again, I keep saying this every podcast that they're gonna come, they're gonna come, they're gonna come. Well, when? I want to see one today. Let's see Santander launch one to Mars. That ball can go see Bradley Zimmer on the moon somewhere. Like, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, eventually we gotta like stop saying it's early. He starts slow. Like we haven't really seen anything from Santander, and I'm not gonna get too worried about it because of this narrative that we have seen it with the stats that he's not very good in April. But how long are you gonna wait? At what point is he going to strike out or roll over to the first base side? And you gotta say, hey, at some point we need our number 3 hitter in the lineup to get going here. So I'm not saying that he needs to hit a home run every single game, but there is at times, even in this game, where if you could have got one Anthony Santander hit, you might be able to avoid extra innings. Didn't matter in this game, but at some point with Vladdy, at some point with Santander, at some point with your bigger dogs, they're going to have to start eating and they're going to have to start producing if you want to continue to win baseball games.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we need to see from this team, and I'm really excited. I've really enjoyed. You know what? I hate to say this, I really love watching the Toronto Blue Jays play the Boston Red Sox. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's Fenway. I don't know why, but it's always more fun. And maybe it's because it's an AL East team, and when it's the Yankees or the Red Sox, there's just a little bit more of me that's like tuned right in. Like I was dialed right into this game. I think you heard me yelling from the other room, Carter, a few times, just because I don't know. There's something different about AL East games, especially the Yankees and the Red Sox, dude. I have a blast watching them. Oh, by the way, just as before we end this, I've got a little bit of a weird story from today, but I got to give this guy I work with, Carter Kennington, a shout out. Just got a Suzuki jersey, Mariners, and dude, it looked unbelievable today. He wore it into work. Looked so good. And I'm a jersey guy. So I was like fanboying over the jersey a little bit. Maybe I got to start wearing jerseys out more. Like maybe I got to become, just like pop them on. It's getting to summertime. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you start wearing a jersey to the office. Just be having that David Schneider jersey on. Throw on the Josh Donaldson jersey. I'll give you that one. I'll give you a pass just this time. If you're gonna pull it off at the office, I will give you it there. But yeah, I mean, it's the summer's coming. Why not? Throw on a jersey, especially with the baseball button ups. Gets a little bit hot, especially for a guy like me. I'm a pretty warm person. Just undo a couple buttons. Let the chest let us show a little bit with the summer months, but you only get 1.5 of them in when you're living in Canada. But yeah, so obviously we're looking for a series win. We already have established a series win, going for a little bit more in the final day. We're going to avoid saying it on this podcast, but on a little bit more of a serious note, there was a tragedy that happened in the Dominican Republic. Over 125 people killed. Nightclub roof collapsed during over the weekend, I believe it was, and an ex-Blue Jays pitcher, Octavio Dodal, was in attendance. It ended up passing away in that moment. Just a terrible tragedy, and our condolences obviously go to everyone affected from that instance.
Yeah, dude. You know what? It's things like this, and you know what? We didn't want to bring it up at the beginning of the episode because we just did come off a nice win, but it's real life stuff that comes in here, right? Like we're talking about a kid's game at the end of the day, and then real life stuff sort of hits you a little bit too, and you see the amount of people affected. We saw it yesterday actually, but didn't see how many people. There wasn't anything confirmed, so we didn't want to bring anything up when we didn't have some information. Yeah, this is tough. This is a tough one for sure. I mean, everybody affected. If you guys want to go read on what had happened, there are tons of articles out there. Just look it up. It will be the first thing that comes up, and I suggest you do, right? Because there were a ton of people affected by this, and not just the people that were involved in the accident, but also family members and friends as well. So go give it a read. Give it some attention. Some part of your day. It's just a nice thing to do. As always, we know you guys are very great about this kind of stuff as well. When we've talked about a little bit heavier stuff in the past, you guys have been fantastic. So we really appreciate that and hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And we're going to be back for a Friday episode, hopefully talking about something I will not say right now, but hopefully I will be able to say tomorrow. And plus a little bit of the Bichette contract stuff. As always, Carter, we appreciate everybody listening, everybody watching. Tuning into all of our content. Anything else from you before we kick out of here?
No, just hoping from a good performance from Chris Bassitt. Again, continue on with how the series has gone. Just the roller coaster of a ride. You sweep the Nationals, you get swept by the Mets. Looking to do some damage against the Boston Red Sox, and it means just that much more because they are an AL East opponent. Thank you guys for watching. All the likes, comments, support recently has been much appreciated, and we will talk to you guys again tomorrow.